Hey, what's going on, everybody? So we just wrapped up watching practice. I have a few things I'd like to talk about, in particular based on the interviews that we got to do after practice, and Tyler Van Dyke, Will Mallory, and defensive backs Marcus Clark and Cameron Kitchens. At first, I want to talk about maybe some observations I had at practice today. There wasn't a lot of news, so to speak. Obviously, Bubba Bolden is out for this season, so he wasn't out there. And I expect James Williams and Cameron Kitchens to handle the bulk of the load there at safety. They've been playing a lot. You guys have seen them out there. They've done well. The coaches like what they've seen from those two, and I think it's good that they've been playing together for a little bit now, and I think that'll help them in this one. But certainly communication will be key for those guys because Bubba's not out there to help with that. So that will be certainly something to watch for. As far as other things in practice, like I said, there wasn't a lot of things that we got to see in the 20 minutes. I'll post the video, the drills that we did get to see. Similar things. We saw the receivers, defensive backs were close, defensive line. Like I said, not a lot different than what we've seen in the past, but I'll certainly put the video up so you guys can see for yourself. Maybe there's some things that you guys notice. And also drop in the comments if there's things particularly that you'd like to see from practice, or maybe even things you'd like for me to discuss in particular moving forward. So I definitely like that. I appreciate everybody's comments from the video after the game. Those are always good to see. I appreciate those. So thank you for that. Okay, kind of talking to some about interviews afterwards. Tyler Van Dyke, I think everybody was a little curious to see how he was going to handle this media availability based on what he said last week. And one of the things that stood out was he felt like he didn't realize what he said at the time, that it would really make a difference, or that NC State would be upset with some of the things he had to say. So he did say that Manny Diaz told him, don't say anything this week. So, and Tyler didn't, but it's, still confident and things like that. I think one of the things that stood out to me in asking him afterwards, I find this to be very interesting with quarterbacks. I feel like it's like this in baseball with starting pitchers, but obviously Tyler Van Dyke's not going against Kenny Pickett on the field. However, I do wonder with this matchup with the game, if Tyler goes into this one feeling like that he's got to perform at a high level the way Kenny's done pretty much all season. Certainly he's in that Heisman discussion, so I do wonder what that will be like for Tyler. And Tyler said the thing with, he's going to try to go out there and pay attention to what's going on with the offense, Miami's offense, and things like that. So I do find that interesting, and I do find it, I think it'll be something, regardless of what he said, I think it'll be something to watch for during the game, especially if Kenny gets off to a good start or anything like that, where Tyler feels like he's chasing points, feels like he needs to score 35, 42 points to keep up. I just wonder about that pressure. So that'll be something to watch for during the game. Other things I kind of asked, or other things that Tyler talked about too, was just, I felt like it was good in the offense that a number of guys got going. Jalen Knighton got it going again. Will Mallory with some plays. Charleston Rambo have a good game. A number of guys did well with the offense, and just kind of asking Tyler about that, he said, yes, that happened, but really he feels like it all starts with him in terms of the pressure to succeed and the pressure to play well. So he definitely knows that, and he'll definitely look to do that again. I think, kind of turn into some focus on the defensive backs, because again, I was paying a lot of attention to that during practice today with the drills. Not only are the safeties going to be important in this one, but I feel like the cornerbacks, because of the things that the Pittsburgh receivers, certainly Jordan Addison, if he's able to play in this one, but some of the things that they're able to do with Pickett throwing the ball and some one-on-one type situations. And that was kind of my question with Marcus Clark, was just, your thoughts on facing Addison. And one of the things that stood out to me in his response was just that he feels like eye discipline is going to be big in this one, making sure he knows where Jordan's at, either double moves or things that Jordan does with some route running stuff. Again, if he plays, certainly question mark going into this one. The other thing I asked him was just, if he compared to anybody that they've seen on film. Obviously, Marcus hasn't played in every game, but just he's been watching film on these guys, and he did compare Jordan maybe to John Mechie from Alabama. And then he did mention that he felt like they did a good job on containing Mechie. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, you can debate if they did contain Mechie or not, but that's what he said. So that's something to watch for. And again, just kind of passing on some notes from these interviews. But, Cam Kitchens talked a lot about how the coaches have helped him get ready for these moments. And I asked about Ed Reed, because I'm always curious about Ed's impact on the defense. If you guys have been watching games, certainly you see Ed on the sideline, and when we've been out of practice, he's very vocal with guys, and I'm curious maybe the biggest takeaway that Cam has had in dealing with Coach Reed. And Cam said that he's always on these guys about taking notes. He said sometimes they'll even peek his head in, make sure the guys are taking notes in film room and things like that. And Cam did say, that's something he's working on. He's someone that feels like that he remembers a lot of things, and also it's a transition. And, I would just assume guys aren't taking a ton of notes at the high school level. So just for any freshman to step it up and understand what it kind of takes at this level. And he did say, yes, he's learning to take notes, especially on small things that he can kind of go back to, and kind of remember whatever it might be. So I think that's good. I think it's a guy that that's what you want from freshmen, really taking in information. And we've been kind of hearing that quite a bit about these young guys, that they do a good job of learning either from the coaches or from other players. And certainly it's such a big key to rely on these learning things as opposed to only relying on their athletic ability. So good to hear that from Cam. And then transitioning with Will Mallory, I think it was good that Will obviously got productive and gained some confidence, because it's one thing to be confident going into games and confident in your abilities, but guys need to see results. And I think Will is no different. He's a guy that's had results in the past, but he was not getting that this year, and he felt like that was a good game for him. And I can only imagine that things are really piling up for him individually, not playing well, that he would, not playing as well as he would hope, and the team was losing games. So not a good combination for any player. So he got the big win. He played well, made some key catches. So again, hopefully Will from his stake, and for the team as well. That you want to build on this performance. You can't one win, one performance doesn't erase everything that's happened in the past, and there's still issues that this team needs to work out. And the biggest thing is it's kind of like the Central Connecticut State game, in just the sense that the result was great or whatever, but you got to build from it. You got to take what you did on that game and move forward. And certainly, obviously, it's a bigger game against NC State. I don't need to tell you guys that, but my point being is, it's not necessarily just always about one result. You've got to stack them. You've got to continue to do well, gain some momentum. Pitt's a tough team, even if they're going to deal with maybe some injuries if Jordan doesn't play, or their running back Israel might be out as well, both dealing with some concussion stuff, and that changes their team. But certainly with Kenny Pickett, they've got a lot of firepower, and they've got a lot of things they can do well. So Miami can't think that they won everything with that NC State win. They certainly have got to translate that into more wins. You guys know that. I've seen the comments. Many of you are saying, yes, it's great for the win, but you got to get more wins. And I think hopefully everyone understands that. It's not to discredit the NC State win. It's just to understand where this team is at with already 4 losses on the schedule. So we'll see what happens. I'll have some more in-depth coverage on InsideTheU.com, as well as everybody else that contributes to the site. So definitely check that out. Definitely thank everybody for watching. Drop in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks again, and take care.